So one of the things that I have discovered in this process is the fact that this is a full television production.
Wow.
Make no mistake that just because we were on the web, that this is not a full television production. There's, I would say, little to nothing that separates what we're doing today from what's produced on CNN, ESPN, MSNBC, CNBC, all the letter acronyms, right? uh, but truthfully, the like we put a whole production sheet together. If Jose and the guys do this for you guys, you'll see that there's an entire production sheet. Like this will feel very natural to you as a guest, but
Right.
know that I have everything that I have to follow. And if I don't follow it, Anthony's not going to put the right thing on the screen at the right time.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and that's television production. That's what that is.
Yeah. That's a lot.
It is. Not gonna lie. It is. But I've learned a lot along the way, and I'm so used to being in front of a bunch of people, and the more people I can speak to at one time, the better, and I feed off of that energy of it. This will only make me better on stage. I'm confident of that.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it will. And this is even after this, there's no back to normal. Our normal is going to be this. Like, it's still going to be this, There's going to be a lot of people that are like, why don't there? I still think that we're going to do a lot of video and way more online things than we ever did before, even when it goes to us being out again.
Well, yes and no. Like, you're going to see the haves and the have-nots really start to emerge when people decide how much they're going to continue on with this. Because if they don't prioritize this, they don't budget for this, if they don't take their Facebook lives like to the next level somehow, it doesn't have to be as fully produced as this, but what's going to happen is just the way that you said a second ago about how people constantly need that contact. Well, if you're not constantly feeding their need and feeding it to them where they expect to receive it and can best receive it, then you're going to lose your audience.
Yes.
Right? So they're going to go back to their old way of being disengaged, and you did all that work to not lose them, just to lose them later when it's all over. What a shame.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. We have the amount of people that are watching us now has increased a lot. Like, we had the people in Charlotte, but we have people in Canada and all kinds of people now that are tuning in all the time. So it's interesting how it broadens your audience when everybody has to be online.
Right. Speaking of being online and broadening our audience, when this goes live, let me give a couple of instructions.
Okay.
Before Anthony kills me. We were on the other day. Well, I wasn't. Sheena was on the other day, and she didn't give instructions, and somebody went to touch something. We were like, no, don't touch it. Don't touch it. He jacked up his camera, all kinds of stuff. Like, we were delayed starting. We're like, you can't touch anything. So don't touch anything. That's rule number one. Don't touch your phone unless it falls off. Don't touch it. Don't move too far outside of your window. So like right now, your arms are cut like right here. Right. So if you go out here with your hands, you're off camera. So you're going to be in here. What? See my light. I feel like I look grayer. Okay. All right. Second thing. When we go live, you're going to have about 1.5 to 2 minutes maximum to go onto the Ammie Dover fan page, the Facebook page, not my personal page, and see this video live and share it. Share it as a watch party.
Yeah, I know how to do that.
Yep. Okay. So if you want to share it on as many pages as you can share it.
I have Christy. Christy's out in her sanctuary space, and she's doing it. She's doing watch parties from her page and from all of our pages.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Say thank you.
Yeah, that makes it easier.
I know, right? Um, Jose's doing all the other stuff, but for my personal page, I do it for my personal page, just for my
Right.
phone real quick.
I might need to grab my laptop in a little bit because then I can just look and make sure that it's from my personal page too.
You can always do, you can always share it later and still create a watch party. It just won't be live.
Right. Yeah.
Question for you. I haven't done this for every guest, but I do like the capability to be interactive. The guys can feed me questions in my ear. Do you want live questions?
I'm open to that. Yeah.
Okay. So then what I would say is if we do questions and we get questions, it will elongate the show a little bit. So usually they're going about 20 minutes. Fair enough. Easy enough. It'll feel like 5. They've all gone super fast. Like in my ear, Jose tells me 10, 20, and I'm like, oh my God, how did we get there? So Jose will be giving me a 10-minute warning and a 20-minute warning. Every 10 minutes, he'll tell me where we are. But if you have somewhere to be and you really need to
no, I have you have a hold lock. You're
okay. Good. Then we'll just go as long as the conversation goes.
Okay.
And kind of go from there. If it starts to kind of peter out and I feel like we've covered a lot and we're just starting to repeat, then I'll wrap it up.
Okay.
One thing I will say though is I will give you I'll give you a break, a minute to talk about the Tybee Equality Fest.
Okay.
And that's August.
I'm changing. That's not going to be the date. I talked to Shirley, the mayor, yesterday, and I think that we're considering changing it to September, but I'm concerned about that, honestly. Like, I don't know if September is long enough. It's interesting because I have a window. Like, I want to have the event's going to happen either way, but you don't want it to be at the beach when it's cold. So therefore, like you can't say, oh, it's going to be in December. No, that's not going to work. So I'm either going to do it. I think I'm pushing to the last week of September now. So it'd give it an extra month for it to be over with. So I'm hoping that that's enough time.
Okay. Well, we're going to run your picture that has the date on it and we'll just address the fact that the date is changing. Or would you rather?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I'm open to that. It's interesting because Christy, we were trying to choose a date for sure to put out there. And then we're like, every day and every week, something's different happening. It's so interesting to have to choose that many months out. And hopefully it's all okay by then, but you just don't know.
Or hopefully we're not on our second wave.
Yeah, you just don't, we have no idea. And it's so interesting sitting in that space all the time of just being okay with not knowing because we just don't, none of us know anything about all of this.
Well, one of the things we can talk about a little bit is, being fluid and just know that you have to partner differently and look for people who are doing different things. Right.
Right. Agreed.
I feel like I look washed out.
You don't.
I left my dark lipstick at the house.
Yeah, I have dark lipstick, but with this color, I was like, oh, I don't think that's good. So.
I was more concerned about my hair today because it needs to be cut.
So does mine. Do you see how long this is?
Yes.
It's so long. I was growing it for the wedding and then we didn't have the ceremony. So, and then I don't have a person. So here we are.
Right? I don't have a person.
It's like mermaid hair for the rest of my life.
Mine just gets really thick, like right through here. It's like it just expands.
It's so cute though. Like I would never know that you're having a problem with your hair.
Thanks.
Seriously, it's adorable.
When you make it a little like uneven with intention, then it looks uneven with intention. So no one would ever know.
I think that's the perk of having curly hair. It's like when people are cutting their hair and they have curly hair, it doesn't matter as much that everything's even. So if you curl yours, then nobody knows a thing.
Right. Well, Jose will have to tell you later. I cut his hair the other day. Yes,
How
sir.
did that go?
Fantastic.
Aw. I love that.
Message them to me. I have Twitch in front of me. Twitch is the only thing that I will have loaded. What do I have on my phone? I mean, I have my phone, but it's going to force me to look down. I don't use my phone at all. What? Jose, that would be fantastic if it wasn't like, I can't do that. I can't do that. I'll make it work, but I can't set it up the way that I usually set it up because it's the cord is ran down my back and the cord is only so long. I don't know what you're talking about. Yes. I don't know how to do that. I don't know where to get that from. He's coming in here. He's about to yell at me. Give me a last minute, open up a new something I've never used 2 minutes before we go live. What are you talking about? Hold on.
Shut it down.
See, this is the haircut. Like,
Hi.
Why?
I've never used this.
Wait. How do you answer your messages?
What do you mean? How do I answer my messages?
On the computer.
My messages?
Oh, so you're not using it like
here.
that. You just do it differently.
Yes. See, we're not speaking the same language.
Scoot down so I can see your hair. Oh, it's cute.
You would never know because it's curly and he slicks it back anyway. It is so uneven.
It still looks good.
Right? I thought I did a damn good job.
You did.
Right. Pull that out and open it, just see mine, and then shrink the box.
I am. Hold on.
You two together crack me up all the time.
You see?
Right. I know. Right, you're there. But is it gonna beep?
I don't know. Does it beep?
Text me. Hurry up. We got 1 minute. Christ almighty.
You too.
Every day, girl. I've already threatened to kill him earlier. Every day.
That's hilarious.
The beautiful thing about all of this is, honestly, neither one of us ever get really upset. Like, we say our piece and we're done. And 2 minutes later, it's like, all right, what's for lunch?
That's very good.
It's true. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's, that we're both Hispanic and tempered and all of these things. No, it didn't beep. All right, but come close my door.
Is it?
I see it. No, and it didn't beep.
Okay.
I see it. We're good. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Okay, Anthony, are you ready to rock and roll? Because clearly we have a show happening. Hey there, everybody. Ammie Dover here with the DoverDrive Experience. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so excited to be with you today because we are giving you all the goodness that you need to kick your life and business into DoverDrive. And today I have a very special guest with me. I have Miss Angie Celeste, and she is the events lady of all women. I'm telling you, she creates these experiences to where it just builds and builds and builds community, inclusion, love. It's pretty incredible to be in the presence of someone who can really facilitate that on such a large scale. And when I say large scale, I mean she has Events by Celeste. She's the founder of the Tybee Equality Fest. She and her wife Christy have Awaken Within retreats, and I mean, more and more and more and more that we're going to talk about in a little bit. I'll let her tell you about the last project that she's doing with her wife. So please help me welcome to the DoverDrive Experience, Miss Angie Celeste. Hello, my
Hey.
love.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I said this before, but I really love this platform because I get to have great conversations with people that I already enjoy, and it's just fantastic.
It is hanging out with your friends, talking about what you care about.
Right? And we all get to build a business doing that, and
Right,
sharing love, and really helping people to move their lives forward. I,
right.
I couldn't ask for anything better than that.
No, it's a beautiful thing to support each other.
So we're doing a little bit of ACE planning, and this is something that I've coined in the sense that we have to have a plan for our success. And you can call it a roadmap, you can call it a business plan, you can call it all of these technical terms, but most of them, quite honestly, don't include the human component of business, and ACE planning does. And ACE stands for awareness, creativity, and emotional resiliency. And I think that pretty much sums up what you and Christy do every single day.
It is. It is. It's always staying in a space of alignment and what feels right and what should always be your next step, and being open to the unknown. Honestly, is what we do on the day to day. So it's interesting. And this time, um, it's a place that we're in all the time. So it doesn't, that's always what we do. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow all the time. And we don't know what's going to happen next week or next month. So it's definitely taking it up to the new level with everything that's going on. But it is a space of just allowing and having faith and being open to what feels right in your soul, as silly as that sounds to say.
No,
It
no.
is. It's always what it takes in order to know what your next step is, and what events and what business ideas are going to serve you and serve the community.
Well, for me specifically, when I talk about building a business, if you don't have the passion and a sense of purpose in what you're building, then
Exactly.
it really just becomes task oriented, becomes very nitnoid, aggravating. You don't want to come into work. You don't look forward to it. There's no joy in your heart. You're
Right.
not passionate about those that you're serving anymore. And if that's the case, please stop.
Right. Right. That, and there's nothing wrong with you. And I think that's an interesting concept that we prior in generations past, we were just like, work. You get this one job, you stay at it for 50 years, and that's what you do.
Right.
But I think it's really interesting to see the awakening of everyone in business as well, and how much it's important to be conscious, and to be doing something that you're passionate about and that is part of your purpose. And it's neat doing that with people like you.
Like me.
Yeah.
Like all the things that just spew from me all the time.
Right.
So
Exactly.
true. So true. So let's hone in on this awareness concept a little bit here, because one of the things that resonated with me in having this preparatory conversation with you was the fact that you have to first be centered in who you are. So
Right.
can you talk about knowing yourself and being centered within before moving forward to serve others? So how do you personally do that?
I really like some of my favorite things are listening to music in the morning that that's how I started. And then I'll have coffee, and then I'll meditate and read something that inspires me or inspires other people. I'll usually start out the day with posting something that also inspires other people, because it's interesting how much you think that you being out and doing whatever you're doing isn't important to other people, but it really is. Seeing people looking at what the stuff that I do that feeds my soul every morning really helps them get through their day and set the tone for their day too. So I really like meditating and being in nature and reading books and listening to music with lyrics that have affirmations or things that help build me up and help me continue and feel like I am in the flow of things with my day. It makes everything better. It just sets the tone for your day.
You know, I don't do I don't do meditation really at all. I don't know how. I don't mind. That's a whole different talk show. It's not. However, you know, in the evening, if I can't sleep well, one of the things that I do is I turn on, there's prayer meditation with affirmations. So it's affirmations from the Bible that really just kind of set you at ease and free you, because, you know, love and fear can't occupy the same space.
Oh, my favorite quote. Yep, that's true.
So, you know, that to me, that's how I unwind. And I find it interesting for those who like in the morning, in the morning, I want to work out hardcore. I want to sweat. I want to pound the pavement. I want to get fired up. Like, let's go.
I love that.
Right. In the evening, I'm like, okay, I need help shutting it off. And so, yeah.
Right. It's interesting, but meditation, people will just picture of you sitting on a pillow and being in silence. And it's interesting, as much as you learn about mindfulness, you learn that meditation could be taking a walk in nature. Meditation could be like what you do is a form of meditation. Meditation doesn't mean sitting in complete silence at all times. So it's just what's most important, I found, for people and for myself, is to find your form of meditation that works.
I love that you say that, because so many people find these gurus online, or they may even look to you as a guru, and something that you said resonated with, oh, I have to do that because Angie said to do that. Well, no, it's finding what works for you and getting centered in who you are.
Right. And everybody has a different one. It could be your meditation practice, mindfulness practice, could be waking up and going to the gym and sweating it all out like you like doing, you know, like everybody's different. And with being mindful and being spiritual and also in business, it really goes hand in hand, and you have to find what works for you.
I love that. You know, it's really interesting, and I'm sure that you experience this when you're designing events. You know, you want to make the event represent the person or the company or the organization that you're planning for, and not just create a pretty party, because anybody can create a pretty party.
Right. It's true. Everything that you're saying is so true. I've also learned something recent that's so interesting to me, is that when I first began, I thought like people call you and that they want you to plan whatever it is for them. It could be a music festival. It could be anything that they want you to plan. But now, instead of saying yes immediately because the number is pretty that they're going to pay, instead I take a few days. Sometimes, if I can, I'll take a few days. Otherwise, I'll take a few hours to just sit with it. And what is the vibe? What is the experience that I have with the person that's wanting me to do this for them? What is it? Do they have good communication skills? Are they going to? Do they work the same style I do, or are they bringing something that feels right? Like, you have to go with what feels right. Like, you can't. Every time I've tried to push something, and even though people had said, "Oh, this wasn't a good idea to work," or "This is my experience with this person, and it hasn't been that lovely," I think it's interesting to just say, "I need a minute, and I need to look and see what that feels like to me, and then move forward, or choose not to move forward." It doesn't matter what beautiful numbers on a check for you, because something comes up. You know, if you say no to something, something else comes up usually. So,
because what's right for you will find you.
Yes, all the time. Yep.
Yeah. And what I just heard you say, for those of you who are saying, how do I apply this to my business? What I just heard you say was that you're looking at the end result in the beginning of the relationship as well,
Right.
right? Not
Yes.
just a check. So
Right.
the
Yes. It's
journey,
so important. Yeah. I've done that same thing several times. It's obviously in business we care about the financial aspect of our business and being successful, but I think that it's important to know that success will come to you in the right way, and it's okay to say no to things that don't feel right to you.
please say that again. Really, because when you don't have enough money in your business, it's really difficult to say no to something that you know is not right.
Right. Right. Yeah. And I think that's why it's so important in business and our personal lives. We have boundaries, and we are connected by doing whatever makes us happy and makes us feel like we're in alignment each day. And we just listen to that little voice that we always hear, and make sure that uh, when it's scariest to do that is when you don't have enough money in your bank account, or you're concerned that something doesn't feel right. Then oftentimes you'll force it, and it just is not the way to go. It doesn't set you up for being happy in the business and serving your passion, because then you're stuck doing something that you promised you do that doesn't feel right the whole time, and usually the outcome is not beautiful.
Right, right. Because you're
Yeah.
serving the wrong thing.
Right. Exactly.
You're serving the dollar instead of serving your purpose. And
Right.
when you serve your purpose and you're very clear, I always liken this to a couple of things. One, some people are just attracted to you because uh, they know that you do good things and they need good things. Whether it's
Right.
a connection fit or not, maybe a totally different story. Or they're connected to you because they really do have an alignment with you. And it just is so very hard to say no. But if you ask yourself it and plan for the result of it all instead of just planning for that dollar, then
Right.
it's it'll come to you differently. Your business will take shape so very differently.
Right, it does. It completely does. And you have to think, if I'm having a contract with this person that doesn't feel right, how long? Sometimes you're planning something for a year or 6 months with someone. You're
Mhm.
dedicating 6 months of your life or a year of your life working with someone that you knew that it wasn't going to work out anyway. So I just feel like it really affects your days way more than you imagine, and it makes you not open to the people that you were supposed to work with.
Right. Because now
Right.
they're occupying that space
Right.
instead
Exactly.
of it being able to attract the right people and to really facilitate that so differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Oh, I feel like you're my soul sister. Like just all the time.
You can just call me and I'll give you little tidbits when you need it.
Oh my goodness. Like I'm gonna put you on a retainer to okay. I know y'all because my clients, right? I know you guys have heard me say this 17 times. I'm gonna let somebody else say it for just a hot minute and see if it sinks in. Um,
Yeah, it is. It's nice to hear like-minded people that have some interesting things that they think that's not. I don't think it's right now the normal, or it's not what is largely. It's becoming more of a thing where people have conscious businesses, and we
yes.
see that with Toms and different ones that give shoes or give food or do things like that. But it's really neat to work with other people in business that have conscious businesses, and that's how they work and
Yeah.
that's how they run their business.
Well, they're building a culture based on social responsibility.
Right. And I love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you build a culture from that, you don't have to worry about money.
Right. It's exactly true.
And you don't really have to worry about the sales of it and the marketing of it because when people believe in it and you're building that culture of service, then people they're going to be saying those things. They're
Right.
naturally going to become your brand ambassadors and your sales representatives just because they feel it inside and they want to share the goodness that they feel, not sell,
Right.
but the goodness that they feel.
Yeah. And what a big difference that makes.
Right?
Yes. It's everything.
No amount of marketing gives you that sense of authenticity.
No, it's true.
I want to pause for just a second here. And for those of you who are watching, we've spent a lot of time with Angie thus far just talking about a sense of awareness in ACE planning. if you have questions for Angie and that this conversation's kind of sparking something inside you, or maybe she said something that wasn't fully explained in your mind, like, how do I integrate that in my life? Because Angie doesn't know what's happening in my life right now.
Right.
Definitely shoot us a message wherever you're watching this on whichever platform. Put it in the comments below, and we will try to get to as many questions as we possibly can. We're just on the line to chat for a little while. So chat with us. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear how you are implementing some of the ACE planning in your life, and that's awareness, creativity, and emotional resiliency. Angie, you said something earlier that led me to think about how to get creative. If you're bogged down in things that are not in alignment within your passion and your purpose, then it takes a negative energy almost to function in that space.
Right.
And if you have that negative energy, then you can't be in an open creative space.
That's true.
So one of the things that we were talking about the other day was, how do you facilitate creativity in your life in general? And the thing that stuck out the most to me was that it wasn't something that you did for yourself. It was more something that you're doing for the community, in the sense that if you are trying to facilitate change, you have to be creative. Creative things will come your way. So how does somebody create an environment that facilitates change when you're thinking, okay, well, it's just me. How do I facilitate all this change? It sounds lovely, right?
I think that first of all, I think it's really important to be with yourself, and like we've said before, like sit with yourself in silence and see the things that Pastor Candace from Agape, she said something one time that was really interesting, and she did this little this little workshop with people that were in her congregation, and that happened to go that day. And it was really interesting. Like, what were the things that you wanted to do as a child? Like, what made you so excited? Like, you wanted to be a police officer, or you wanted to be whatever you wanted to be. And maybe you're not that now, but what aspects about that did you really love? What did you see when you were childlike? And how can you use that in the future now? So like me, I wanted to be a midwife, and I was reading books constantly when I was young. So I wanted to be a midwife that helped moms, and they would give me a chicken or a goat, because that's the kind of stuff that I read all the time. But it's interesting now, whenever I look back, the things that I liked about that was being in service to other people and helping them in their lives. So that now I feel like I'm in alignment with what I was doing. Previous to what I do now, I was in finance for years, and that wasn't a perfect fit. Even though I was helping people, it just wasn't a fit. It felt not like it was what I was supposed to do. So it's just neat going across those things and just seeing what feeds your soul, what makes you excited, and how can you make money doing that.
That's so interesting. I wanted to be two things when I was young. And I don't remember which came first, but I just knew I was going to be Dr. Dover, of which I am not, but I surely diagnose people all the time.
I bet you do.
My bachelor's is in psychology. I really wanted to be a psychologist. And I do feel like I counsel as a business consultant, and even just interviewing now, you have to listen to what people are saying to be able to pull the rest of it out of them and to facilitate a good discussion. And that really takes being in tune with what they're saying, not just words, not just process, but really being in tune with what they're saying.
Right.
The second was I wanted to be in advertising because I hated commercials.
And look at you.
Look, right? There's your examples of it all right there.
Yeah.
Tell us what you wanted to be as a kid. Like, put it in the comments below and tell us what you wanted to be. And if you're living that life somehow, I feel like I'm living the life. I don't know.
You are. But I think that's one of the things. It's really important to look at those things. And as silly or trivial as you might think that they are, they do have a connection to you, what your purpose is and what you're here to do and what makes you happy doing, which is most important.
That's so funny. I'm sticking with that. I'm going to steal that.
It is. It's awesome. I think about it all the time.
So the last episode of the DoverDrive Experience, I stole something from somebody. Like I'm getting all of these nuggets, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna give you credit, but just so that you know, that's my new line. Like, thanks, Pastor Candace, because that one's mine now.
I know, it's a good little gem, isn't it?
It is. And speaking of creativity though, it's really thinking about what's happening around in the world around you. You don't always have to create something new. You just have to make some concept work for you in a very creative way.
Right.
And I feel like there are nuggets for that in everything that you're doing. If you're really listening to people, they're dropping these truth bombs and these little nuggets of wisdom all the time.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think it's neat to also know that that what you like to do, like you, for instance, you like doing what you're doing. You like interviewing people and you like advertising. But your area of genius is not the other things like producing the show or doing the other things that you have to do, make sure the lighting's perfect and doing all of the branding by yourself. I think that as entrepreneurs, and we can sometimes think that we have this great idea and we have to do it all alone. All of it's up to us to do. So I think it's really interesting to be creative in the space that is your area of genius, but also have people come from outside that they are really good at video, like Jose is, or different people that come into your life that you have a great fit with and that you can communicate with, and that they feel like, and they believe in you.
Right.
Then you're able to not have everything so heavy on your own shoulders, trying to learn all of these different things, especially in this time. There's so much that's coming up that we were talking about prior that we don't know how to do. And that's why it's important to also be in alignment with the people that are really good at doing things that will help you shine brighter in whatever your area is.
And it fast tracks you.
Right.
Because if I took the time to learn how to produce even this show, of which I don't know how to produce, let's be clear, I wouldn't be here today. I'd still be in learning mode, trying to facilitate all of these things. And yes, look, I have 3 different devices around me right now. I have things happening, on the screen. I have 2 different views happening that I can sort of almost see. I can't quite have the line of sight on. And I have, people talking in my ear, and
Right.
all these things are happening. Like I just got a minute count on the show, how far we're running. It's so many things are running behind the scenes that if I had to have direct line of sight on every single one of them, I could not be present for the purpose of the show.
Right. That's exactly right.
And if you're not going to show up and be present, you're really doing your audience a disservice,
That's
regardless
true.
of what your audience is.
Right.
Whether you're preaching, whether you're reading, storybooks to kids, even if you're whatever it is, just be present in that and build a team around you that supports your genius and
Yes.
to live in it, because that production is not my genius.
Yeah, and you're helping other people live their purpose. Like we've spoken like to Jose before, and I remember him saying about him being in computers for all of his life, how much he was obsessed with it and how much he loved it. And so you're also, his area isn't being in front of the camera like you are, so you're really helping people come along in their area as well whenever you're saying, this is where I'm going to be, and can you help me with the things that you're really good at? So it's lovely when that starts happening and coming together as a team.
It is, because my team has become like my family.
Yes.
Just being able to attract the right people into your team and into your life that, because as an entrepreneur, a lot of times I feel like I'm big on boundaries, number one, first and foremost. So no matter what I say next, know that I'm big on boundaries. Because I know that what I say next is going to contradict that. I do feel like I work 24/7. And it's because I'm excited about it.
Right.
I have that openness to receive other people and their genius, to be able to constantly be thinking about how to make it better. How do I go to the next spot? Where's my next guest coming from? What are we going to talk about? What new platform are we on? What's the next tool that we can use? And I just plant seeds. You know, I don't have all the answers. I plant seeds with really smart people, and they come back and tell me when it's ready. Like, it's
Right.
harvest season. Let's go.
Right. It's that you've heard that quote that says, if you're the smartest person on your team or in the room, then you need to move to a different space. So that's exactly what it is. Just,
Yep.
and I think that if you're passionate about what you're doing, it's always in the back of your mind. It's always something that you're thinking about and making sure that you're doing the things that you love to do and how you can do it better. But it doesn't feel like it's a weight on your shoulders. I
Mhm.
think that's one of the big differences is if you're doing something that you don't like and you're thinking about it all the time and you're bringing it home, it's terrible because you're also sad. You're also not happy because you know that this isn't what you like to do at all. And that's not the space you should be in. So it's important to, that's why it's important to do what you love.
Well, that leads us right into the next component. I couldn't have asked for a better lead in, because that that is emotional resiliency. And if you're miserable, or you're coming home after a day of dealing with a lot of madness or negativity, then you're being a little more closed off, and your resiliency, your timeline for resiliency, kind of diminishes, and it takes you longer to bounce back from things.
Right.
And that's never good, because there are so many things that happen in a day, an hour even. We've been, on the line here for an hour. We did, half hour prep. And of all the components that have already happened in that hour, you have to be able to bounce with it. You have to be able to roll with it. You have to be able to know that you're not the best at everything. And, what you guys at home aren't seeing right now, that Angie got to see, was, there were other people popping into my view to fix things on the machine, and to come in and adjust my lighting and do all of these things um, that the general public never even should see.
Right.
And if we all live within our genius, and we're able to bounce back, we're able to keep moving forward, they get to see the goodness of it all, and everyone prospers from that, because from that goodness.
Right. And what's helped me with that is having a timeline of things that you want to accomplish or that you want to have done in a day, but it's also forgiving yourself when you don't get that done.
Yeah.
And and just know that if you're doing the next right thing, it's not going to be, it's so funny, me being an event planner and me doing the stuff that I, that I do. It seems like this is just a silly thing to say, but when I do events, or even I've done weddings before for friends, when I do that, I say ish on the timelines sometimes, because I think that whenever everything has to be this certain way, and that's the only way that we're going to be happy, then we're not going with the flow on what's going to happen next. And you're forcing things to be. And I think that's an interesting thing to do too, is just to make sure that you're not so insistent that things go a certain way every day, because when you make plans like that, it just doesn't happen that way. And it's okay to be okay with that not happening the way that you had planned.
I feel like, as a type A personality and a recovering control freak, I feel like that's an active sport, by the way, that recovery process.
Oh, I know. I know. Even doing interviews like this, I used to be like, things had to be a certain way. And now I'm like, the energy just feels more authentic when you're like, no, I'm not going to read from a sheet, or I'm not going to have every single thing said that I meant to say, but that's okay. Having an authentic experience is way more important.
People will connect with the emotion of what you're saying, way more than they will the process of what you're saying.
Exactly.
So, just creating that space for all the goodness in the conversation. And, as you have found out in hosting a lot of Zoom events, and, virtual events, you guys are on it, gosh, multiple times a week
Right.
for what you're doing down in Charlotte. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you're showing up for people in a different way in this new digital space?
Right. An example is I'm helping the people that I work with constantly. I have and I'm doing that in not. I'll go to Charlotte in a minute, but in on Tybee and Savannah is where I have a lot of things that I do, and I do Tybee Equality Fest. So that I have pro equality vendors and sponsors and things like that that I've worked with for years that help Tybee Equality Fest be what it is. And typically, I would be calling them right now because they would be our sponsors for this event, and we'd have vendors and we'd have all the entertainment lined up and doing all the things that we always do. But instead, this year, it's just being in a space of how can I serve them? You know, they've helped me for years and they believe in what I do. And how can I help them get on the other side of this? How can I make sure that people are getting the information where they can buy things from them still? I called a food truck person and said, "Hey, Windsor Forest is looking for people. I just want to make sure that you saw this, and this is the email to get in touch with them so you get on the schedule." So
Okay.
I'm just doing things like that. So how can I serve? How can I help people get through this time and make sure that they um, feel like I'm there for them as much as they are for me all the time?
That's really important. So we'll get back to Charlotte because I don't want to lose that. But
Right.
while we're talking about Tybee Equality Fest and fluidity, let's just call it that. Right? That's a nice word to say. um, the event was set for August,
Right.
and now it may be September, and who knows, right? And so in the process, there are a lot of people who are looking for new and creative ways to get connected with community in a way that maybe they didn't have to do before because they had a nice little business rhythm that served them well. And now things have shifted. You know, I would say to those people who are listening to this right now, who are thinking that, okay, y'all just talked about creativity, you talked about connecting, but how do I get connected? I'm going to say connect with Angie and make sure that you understand, how she's serving people because, Tybee Equality Fest, whether it happens in August or September or, maybe even next year, whatever that looks like, good people need to connect
Right.
and get connected. Build your network before you need your network is what it really boils down to.
Right.
And know that if you're coming from a place of service and there's room to serve and you're open to create ways in which to serve, then definitely get connected on that.
Right. I created just yesterday. I had a meeting with Georgia Equality yesterday, and we went live. And I did that with Erica, which is Erica and Demarcus from there. And we were talking about ways that we can make sure that people are feeling connected and feeling supported. So we created a group on Tybee Equality Fest, was Tybee Equality Family, because we feel like a family. We all help each other. We all know each other. People come for 1 year and then they've come all years, like they feel connected and that this is the time that they all get together. So now I'm putting menus on there. I have some artists that are there. I'm saying, could you please post the things that you do so that we can support you? Mother's Day is coming up, and
Yes.
these are things that we can choose from so that we're making sure that we're all supporting each other and connecting them so that they can take care of one another and opening that and keeping that. Creating spaces like that are just so important to me, either it be virtually or be in person.
I think the one thing that I have learned most about this period of isolation and separation really is how much we need people.
Right.
We do. And we think that as business owners, a lot of times, or as type A folks, that we just have to control everything. We have to do everything ourselves. And it's not right if I don't do it. And listen, it's not right half the time if I do it. So just let other people do it.
It's true.
Right? I mean, because if I try to do everything, I can't do it to the fullest extent that it should have been done in the first place. So just let somebody else do it. Let somebody else
Right.
who is that? Let them do it. Um, but yeah, it's incredibly interesting to me to watch how people are starting to band together, how people are taking this time to look within in order to produce something external later. Um,
Right. It's interesting. There are so many people that are trading things. I know that you probably follow Coco as well, but it's so neat. Every week she has, this is what I created, this kumquat jam and this honey, and I have 14 eggs, and like they're trading for different things. And it's just the neatest thing to see how people are being creative and they're learning different ways, and realizing that the human connection, it matters so much and it's so powerful. It's really beautiful to see. This is a time where we can either look at the positive or we can be in the negative. And I choose every day to be in the positive, even whenever craziness and chaos is going on around. I try not to stay focused on that, and just know, like, there's some beautiful things coming up too. There's people that are healing. There's people that are they're going deeper and learning things about themselves. I'm learning things about myself every day that I didn't know before. And it's just neat, the human component of here in Charlotte, there's Noda Company Store, and they are a bar where everybody hangs out, and it's just a community. It's not to say it's a bar, is it's like a community hub. And now, instead of having beer and wine in there, they now have squash, and they've created a little grocery store in the community. And it's just wonderful that you even thought of that, to change it to that, to serve your community so people aren't having to go inside huge grocery stores. Is just incredible. And that's just examples of how people are trading and doing things that they've never done before. And I just really hope that component stays and we remember what's important.
I think that people are feeling it and are not quite sure how to implement. So I think that's the heart of a lot of what I'm hearing. I'm seeing a lot of cool creativity as well.
Right.
But I also see a lot of, I'm not really sure, is my gift worth anything? Are these products that I take, for granted every day, that I have access to, are they valuable? And I would really challenge everybody to look at the fact of, how can that thing serve someone else? Not you, because you have it already.
Right.
How can it serve someone else? And then it will start to formulate, right? The creativity around it. How do I get it to them? What could I trade for it? A lot of folks are really finding that it's hard to sell right now. They have products and services that are not selling right now because so many people are out of work. Other people are not selling, so they don't have the money to spend. And that doesn't mean that commerce has to stop, and it doesn't mean that kindness has to stop.
Right. Right. Yes, I agree with you 100%. And I'm feeling led to say that I do things like that with people. Like, it's really important to have somebody that you can talk to help unbury all of that, right? Like, we know that we have this gift or we feel this thing, but somebody just sometimes saying, you got this. This is what it is. Like, this is a jewel. This is important, and this is beautiful, and you're going to be okay if you do this. Sometimes that helps give people the courage and bravery to say, okay, I got this. I'm going to do this. And being open to however that expresses itself. So I am also happy to talk to people to help them unbury that, or get them in an alignment with other people that do that as well. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you guys are doing down in Charlotte, you and Christy.
Right. Yes, we do Awaken Within retreats, and that usually we had at Unity Village in Missouri. We had a retreat there, but we had to cancel it. So we do that all the time. We're looking for ways to serve people and make it for they can do that deep healing work. And with other people that are around you that are doing the same thing, that experience is beautiful. And we also have Carolina Center for Spiritual Awakening, and we have a community here, and we're doing the same thing. Like, everybody takes care of one another. We create community and go through things like positive thinking and mindfulness and meditation, and how much that can change your life. And it changes lives all the time. And it's just the most beautiful thing to see people come in and be like, oh, I thought I was the only way, that I didn't know other people believe this. And it was always around me. And I was the opposite of that but I knew that wasn't right. And, oh, this is amazing. And just see their lives continue to transform as they implement that in their life. So we have Sunday services, and we do different books that help keep people out of fear. Christy's doing a book study thing now, that helps people choose faith instead of fear. So we're always doing things that we can to try to help people get out of their own way. Honestly, that's what it is.
And that's an active sport, right?
Right.
It takes constant nurturing, constant learning, constantly being fed by others, and just even being in their space when they have that energy,
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's hard to be in that it's hard to be conflicting in that space.
Right. That's
So one of
totally.
you will conform, and the strongest one is probably the one that is most positive and centered. So get ready for that that formation of something that's going to happen inside you.
Right. And whenever you start doing that, it's interesting how we said in different ways, the people that are attracted to you come. You'll
Yeah.
start seeing things like I'll walk around and I'll see a guy at the coffee shop and he'll be meditating by a tree. And I'm like, that's so not a thing that I would normally pay attention to or even know that's happening. And then I'll be walking somewhere and then I'll hear someone talking about the retreats that they go to and how it's changed their lives, and or they're talking about someone that's written a book that I've already read. It's just interesting how it starts coming closer to you whenever you implement that in your own life.
Yeah, but you're attracting it.
Yes, and it's so that's how you know you're on the right track. I always feel like I'm in the right space and I'm doing the right thing whenever everything around me, I see those things constantly around me, or that you see the opposite of that makes sure that you're in alignment and that you're following that space and doing what you should do, to stay mindful whenever chaos is around you, to make sure that you're focusing on the right things and the things that feed your soul instead of the opposite of that.
Well, this has definitely done that for me. Thank you
Oh,
for
me
feeding
too.
my soul today.
Thank you so much. I love talking to you all the time.
Well, we're going to create more opportunity for doing just that. So if
I
you're
love that.
right, if you're watching the DoverDrive Experience right now and you're loving all this goodness from Angie, I want to hear it from you, because I want to make sure that we are being of service to the audience and giving you what you need. Thank you so much, Angie, for being here today, for all that you have shared. I will put links everywhere to connect with you and to make sure that people know exactly who you are and where to get more of all this goodness. So thank you, my love.
Of course. I love you. Thank you so much for this.
Oh, I love you back. I love you back. I also want to say thank you to the Spear Network for all the production that you've heard us talk about today, because that wasn't me. That's coming from the Spear Network, and I could not be more honored and proud, really, to partner with people who just want to produce something amazing and quality. And they've allowed me this platform to reach out to so many and to have impact to so many. Now, one of the other ways that we're giving impact right now is the Power of Pivoting webinar that's happening on April 30th. I want you to think about all of the things that we've talked about today and all the creative spaces that you need to be in and the ways that you need to pivot inside your business. If you're really not sure how to do that, we're going to cover a lot of techniques, a lot of areas where you can make shifts in your business. And I mean, sometimes minor changes just yield these massive results. And, that's really what it takes. It takes being open to receiving new information, new ideas, and being able to put yourself in a position where action speaks. And that's what we're all about with the DoverDrive Experience. So I hope to see you inside that webinar. I'll post the link to register right down below. Hop in there. I'll see you at 1 p.m. on April 30th. And until next time, thanks so much for tuning into the DoverDrive Experience. Have a great day. Okay. So we're wrapping up, doing a little post-show recap of the DoverDrive Experience. We still have Angie Celeste on the line with us right now. I thank you. First, let me just say thank you. I think that may have been the longest running interview that I've done, just because it was good, because it flowed. So awesomeness. Is there
Yes.
anything that you need from me or feedback you'd like to give?
No, I loved it. The whole experience was wonderful.
Um,
We speak well together. I love that. I love whenever interviews are fun like that.
yeah, and that's I'm almost a little nervous, if I'm being honest, about right. Um, First of all, I'm leaking. Like the light is so bright that my
Oh no.
crying. But I'm almost a little nervous about opening this up to people that I don't know. And as a professional, right, you should be able to interview anyone, and I get that. But I still want to enjoy it. I still want it to feel good.
Right. Right. I think that matters more than anything else. Like, I know that it's the line that we talked about, like being authentic, you being authentic the way that you are, and just moving with the story and being genuine. I mean, your audience is gonna be so much broader because you do that instead of caring that everything be so perfect at all times.
Oh my gosh, I probably would have a heart attack. I would go into control mode and I would just spin. I would really just spin. And that's not a healthy place for me to be in. And
No.
it's nothing that anybody wants to watch, I promise.
No, no, it's not. And good for you for getting out of your own way in that space, because it is hard to. I know that people like you. Christy is more like you than like me. And she has to work on that continuously, because you know how things should look. You've done it for a long time. You know what things should be like. And it's really funny to stay in a space of it's not perfect, and that's okay. That's actually better than okay.
It's really interesting, because Jose was the one who really pushed me to do more of this. Like when we were developing the show, I've done training videos and they're cool, and I feel like I handle myself well on camera, but it's very one dimensional when it's just you.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were talking about how to create a show and how to develop something that had so many more layers. And I'm like, oh, I mean, it's all good, but I can't control all of the layers. And we really had talks about this. I'm not kidding. We had talks about this.
I bet. And the more you do it, the more you're gonna stop being like things have to be this certain way, because you don't have to control everything, and everything is way more beautiful when you're not controlling it.
It's one of the things I love about the platform and
Mm-hmm.
doing the digital component, because yes, this does run like a television production that we talked about previously, but at the
Right.
same time, it's online. There are no restrictions. If I go 10 minutes or if I go 35 minutes, it's mine. I
It's
can do
true.
whatever I want to do.
It's true. And that's wonderful. I'm glad that you're doing that. I'm happy that you went outside of your comfort zone. We were just talking about, Christy and I, about how uncomfortable certain things are. And I think it's a human thing to, if it's uncomfortable, to not do it. But it's more important to know that if it's uncomfortable, sometimes that means that it's past your comfort zone, your comfort bubble, which means that's the next step. That's the next right step for you. And
Yeah.
this is what it is for you. Like, it pushes your buttons and that just makes you expand and grow. So
It pushes my
bravo.
buttons. Jose pushes my buttons. All of the above, girl.
He's so nice. Stop it.
He is. No, he is. He's like my brother. It's just really funny because I swear, I mean, especially in this time of not really being able to go out and network, like we've almost been quarantined together, right? So
Right.
that's a lesson that we should have talked about is select your people well, select people that you can be quarantined with.
It's true. It's true. And that's funny because if you made that concept with like we talked about working with people, right? Like
Yeah.
if you couldn't picture yourself being around them daily, then you shouldn't be working with them. And that's truth. Like I shouldn't choose events where I couldn't be in the same space often because I'm choosing them for a year,
Yeah.
which is very similar to being quarantined with them. You got to talk to them all the time.
All the time.
Every day.
Every day. Every day. And he comes in and turns the lights up to a point where I cry.
No.
Yeah, no, it's all good.
Well, you look pretty. He has to know that that's good. Like she looks great on screen. He helps with that, so that's a perk, even if you're crying a little.
No, trust me, I need an army around me at all times. I'm not even kidding. Like, I can't function on my own. As much as I like to be left alone a lot of times, I cannot function on my own. It's just not possible.
I I can function on my own, but I don't do as well for sure. Christy was just saying, I got this shirt out and it was wrinkly, like on the sleeves and stuff, and she says, "Angie, take that shirt off." And I'm like, what? It's not. She's like, no, I have to steam that for you. Like, that's not okay. And then I was like, how do you live with me? And she said, how do you not live with me? Like, what did you do before me? Like, I'm just like a guy sometimes. No offense, guys, but I just do that. Like I'm like, oh, I'm getting through life, and life is just so much better when you have a team or you have groups surrounding you, supporting you.
Amen to that. I tell you, I've tried to do it on my own.
Yeah, so have I. It's kind of terrible.
Yeah, varying levels of success in that, but I'll take a team any day. I will absolutely take
Yeah. Well, to be more, I mean, there's no way that you can't be more successful when you have people that support you and you believe in them and they believe in you. It just helps you fly.
True story. True story. Okay. Well, I'm going to let you off the hook here. And Jose will be calling you in a little bit this afternoon. We're going to do a quick little recap of this. And then he's probably all yours. I have no idea what's on his calendar today.
Okay. Could you just tell him to text me before? Because I want her to be on with me, and she has meetings all day. So I just want to make sure the time works because her and I are going to be choosing. Like I already know, I have some clips of different people that do production and what we kind of want it to look like. So I just want to send it to him. He can look at it and then talk to both of us so that we can get pricing and stuff like that.
Oh yeah. Well, why don't I'll have him set up a Zoom so that you can go through the clips, like you can play them and watch them together and you can say, this is what I like, this is this, and that is that. And and that will help. So he'll work it out, but get a time together and get that on Zoom and hammer it out. That's goodness.
Yeah, I love that. It would be that's one of the things I was talking about that I was trying to learn it on my own. It's just, it isn't my area of genius. It's his. And so here, please do this.
Well, yeah. And you see that like you trying to do it alone, even if it was your area of expertise, I've got 2 people on the hook with me right now just doing the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, and they're not sitting idle and twiddling their thumbs. They're moving this and moving that and all of these things. And one person's got to watch the tech part. The other person's got to watch the Amy part and, make sure that she's not crazy. And
you're not crazy. Well, I love talking to you as always. Seriously.
Right back at you. We will, as soon as I figure this all out, then we'll be in touch. We may do a little bit of a series with some people. I don't know, to be perfectly honest. I
know you don't know, and I don't know either. So however it works out, if it does or doesn't, whatever, I'm always here and we'll just talk it out and figure it out.
All right. Well, that much I can commit to.
Okay. I adore you.
All right. Back at you. I'll talk to you later, girl.
Okay. Bye.